Are you feeling overwhelmed, stressed, sick and tired? Have you got some sort of a diagnosis? Are you just feeling that no matter what you do, your cup always stays empty? And this is what we do at the core of our wellness retreat, is to help you understand why it's so important and what to do to fill your cup every single day so that you don't end up in a burnout situation. Today I've got a client here that's checked into our wellness retreat that we're going to be chatting to about, to give you a typical idea what type of consultation and counseling we do here that can help you with any situation. Her specific situation is she's a single mom with her own business and she's managing the children. She is feeling completely overwhelmed, and now the ex has lost his job, and now she's had to go and get extra clients to put in to try and make up for that lack of his part that he's having to pay for the maintenance of the children. So it's really a stressful situation, chronic stressful situation. And when you are chronically in this stressful situation of survival, you just feel your belly coming up for air to breathe. You're not even breathing, because we've all noticed when you're in this form of go, fight, flight, sympathetic mode of the central nervous system, you are not breathing as you should. Do this chronically for a long period of time, then we get what we call oxidative stress. Now, once you're in oxidative stress, it means a lack of oxygen into your cells. Then three things happen. You can't absorb your nutrition as you should. You can't absorb your hydration as you should. You can drink 5 liters of water a day, you are not absorbing that. You can eat bucket loads full of fruit and vegetables, you are not absorbing that nutrition. But this is where the problem comes. The third thing is with oxidative stress, you are not releasing your toxins. So now you get your lymphatic system in a situation of inflammatory mode. That equals excess weight. You can never manage your hormones unless you manage your stress hormones. And this is where we come in to help you just to manage the central nervous system. The central nervous system consists of 2 parts. The sympathetic go, fight, flight mode. And if you can't fight your way through it, and if you can't run, you go in freeze procrastination mode. That's why so many of us say to me, I know what I need to do, but I can't seem to get my together to actually do it, because you're in freeze procrastination overwhelm mode. And that often activates PTSD type of symptoms, such as anxiety, depression, moodiness, irritability, not proper deep sleep, waking up, and despite being on a sleeping tablet, you still feel exhausted in the morning when you wake up, because you're in oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the common denominator of all diseases. So we into prevention better is much better and easier to manage than managing the actual diagnosis. So what we do is we teach you how the central nervous system works. It's sympathetic and parasympathetic. I always remember parasympathetic as paraplegic, now I must stop, I can't move, I must calm down now. I mean, I'm a type of person, I got to this program because I'm super ADHD, I'm always on the move. A-type personality, business owner, perfectionist, control freak. I love this profile because I move and I get things done and it's exciting and I can feel the adrenaline and the cortisol pump. But the whiplash effect of that stress hormones in my central nervous system is what I need to know that I need to decompress at the end of the day. Because if you don't, you take that excess charge into your cells every night when you sleep. And now you make supercharged trillions of new cells while you're sleeping, and you wake up tomorrow with yesterday's energetic baggage, whether it's the central nervous system. And when you have a hyped central nervous system, you have hyped emotions. Once your emotions is hyped, say for example there's trauma and stress and really challenging situations that happen to us, it's often linked to challenging emotions that's difficult to deal with. Now imagine having to deal with difficult emotions while you're supercharged. It's very difficult to deal with your emotions unless you decompress your central nervous system. Stress, decompress. Stress, decompress. What's decompress? Your breath. Because have you all noticed, when you are stressed, you are not breathing as you should. You stop breathing. So it's a God naturally built in, created, that doesn't cost you a cent, that we just teach you how to activate. Every time you feel, here I go again, I'm stressed, breathe. Activate the breath. Connect. Because what is stress and trauma? That is the core of your engine room going, feeling emotions. And once the emotions is filled, now it's very difficult to get your mental health in balance. Because when you supercharge in your central nervous system, because remember, the sympathetic is all about fear, not feeling safe. The dagger's coming out. Fight, flight, war. So when you're in that mode, you're in your beta brain waves. That's super alert. 1 + 1 is 2. If I don't get 2, this is my consequences. That's your conscious mind. That disconnects you from your super subconscious mind, which connects you to your higher self. People who's often in sympathetic mode often feel they can't cope, they're not good enough, and then they reach out to coping mechanism. Why? Because you're disconnected from your higher self. So what we teach you is how to self-regulate from the go sympathetic part of your central nervous system to the parasympathetic part, where you connect on a higher level into your alpha theta brainwaves, which is your subconscious mind, where you can connect. Christians call it connecting to the Holy Spirit. Others call it connecting to your air traffic control, or simply your intuition. You are disconnected when you feel out of balance physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. Once we help you balance physically, the central nervous system, your mental and emotions, because once your central nervous system is superb, the emotions are superb. Once you decompress the central nervous system, you can much easier manage your emotions. And then it's much easier to manage your mental health, to reprogram new neural pathways that is going to serve you to say, wow, I see life now from a rosy, full cup, rather from a fearful life is just horrible, empty cup. You cannot get to that mental flip the switch to change your neural pathways unless you first of all decompress the central nervous system, get out of the oxidative stress, because once you're in that mode, the body says, right, we're getting ready for the war, hold all the immune function, because all that energy is now to get ready for this war, and it pushes all the glucose from the cells and your organs to the blood, and that's also related to high blood sugar. So it's not just what you eat, it's really your stress levels that fuels the sugar to the blood, because the body is now in beta brainwaves that signals to the body that hold all the immune function. We need all the energy, all the glucose to come to the blood now to get ready for this war. So if you want to balance your central nervous system into the sympathetic to parasympathetic, then you need to activate the breath first of all. So we teach you a beautiful technique, a beautiful natural way how to self-regulate through your breath, activating your breath. And it takes just 21 to 90 days. You take little sticky notes and you write breathe, and you put it everywhere. When you wake up in the morning, next to your bed, next to where you go to the wee, in the morning, first thing you go to the toilet, put it next to the toilet, because you're still in your alpha theta state, your semi-conscious state when you wake up. Put it there, and that's your peak time that you need to program new neural pathways. Okay, and then wherever you go, put little stickies. Breathe. Whenever you see these stickies, breathe. It's going to remind you, just breathe. I've got this. Okay, and then there's a tapping. We get the tapping on the sternum, which is really for the anxiety and just to get you to breathe properly. So how do we self-regulate? Is reminding yourself first of all to breathe, because we forget to breathe. Because do that for 21 to 90 days in fear mode, you forget to breathe, and that becomes your new neural pathway. You're not breathing. So we need to flip the switch. Same principle as learning how to ride a bike, how to drive a car, or how to swim. First you fall over and you think, oh, what nonsense, I can't do this. And then all of a sudden there you go, and you do it subconsciously. I use it in my car with the brake and the petrol. That's something we do every day. We're in the car, so every time my foot is on the petrol and I'm going from the one appointment to the next, go, 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 I will play a game with myself where I just use the petrol as my go, 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 but I need to know where there's go, 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 you need to decompress the energy of that go, 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 which is your cortisol and your adrenaline. And how do you do that? By activating your breath. So my brake represents my breath. Okay, not like I'm going to go, go, go like this, but it's really a game I play so I can start reprogramming my subconscious mind, new neural pathways as I go throughout my day. Stress, decompress, stress, decompress, stress, breathe. So when you tap in and you just notice that the day is running away with you and you can feel the adrenaline pumping, you are then automatically programming yourself. You've got to have sticky notes everywhere. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Okay? With the breath work is really just reminding yourself to use the breath as the main purpose, the main module, how to stress, decompress, to decompress. And what you're actually training the brain is to go from sympathetic to parasympathetic, sympathetic to parasympathetic, over like that. And that's what you want to do, because we're never going to get out of our challenges every day. In fact, every day is good, but it's how you manage it. You cannot have control over what happens in your life, but you can have much, much better control over the whiplash effect it has on your system, so you don't crash and burn. So if you manage that whiplash effect from all this trauma and the crises that happen to us, and it's just life, there's no magic wand. But the thing you can be in charge of is how you change the chemistry in your brain that activates your body into healing or no healing. And this is what we call biohacking your body. You have the ability to hack your body's biology into either healing or further sickness. And this is a ritual we teach you every day. Throughout the day, stress, decompress, use your breath. And then every night, before you go to bed, you have to have a ritual to wash the day away. All the religions in the world uses water, like a baptism. So it's become a non-negotiable for me, either a shower or a bath every night, after every day, and I absolutely visualize what the day came in my energy field to be washed away. And while I'm lying in my bath with Epsom salts, bicarb of soda, organic oils that's for sleep and calm. There's a lovely organic soil brand that I normally buy from the Wellness Warehouse or Health Shop that I put in my bath, and that aromatherapy oil really calms my central nervous system. And the hot bath or the shower even calms also the central nervous system before you go into bed. And then I put a little candle, because it's really about greater is He that is within you than he that is in the world, the light. You want to raise your vibration and frequency into a higher, more powerful, connected mentality and connection, where you connect truly. The priests who check in on our program call it Holy Spirit. We come from a Christian background, but we are also energy. It's about the energy that you keep from the people, that you gather from the people that you surround with every day, what you listen to every day. It takes the top 5 people you surround yourself with every day, you become like. So choose very carefully. Now, I have moms sometimes that check in and said, I've just got the cleaner and my kids at home, I work from home, what? And that's where you need to have mentors, such as Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a medical doctor that went on a bike ride. He got into action. They told him he can never ride a bike again. He can never walk again. And it took him 1 year to activate his immune system by changing his brain's chemistry from the beta, fight, flight, fear mode into the alpha, theta, parasympathetic calm, and because remember, fear is the opposite of faith. So when you're in your parasympathetic, you are absolutely in unconditional faith that you are taken care of in every way. And that's your connection to your higher source, whatever that may be for you. We come from a Christian point of view. We've had Hare Krishnas, we've had Muslims, we've had non-believers. We've had them all checking into our program. And everyone with our program have some form of an awakening that there is a higher power, a God out there. Because when you reach out into your parasympathetic and you tap into a higher power, you feel, wow, I've got this. I'm not alone. I've got somewhere I can go to fill my cup from a higher power than just this life. Okay, so it's really also, none of us has the answer. But this is like almost a placebo effect to make your belief system, your faith, and what you believe in a combination, which they call epigenetics, healing your body by your faith and your belief system. Because if you don't have faith of some sort and a belief system that you've got this, then it's the opposite of your parasympathetic, your healing mode that push and keep you into sympathetic fear mode, that you feel so alone. And you're not alone. I can resonate with what you are going through with this formula that helps everyone across the board, whether you've got cancer, because remember, cancer, any autoimmune disease, any out of balance situation is just being disconnected from your higher self, your parasympathetic, your faith mode, and you've been just a bit too long in your sympathetic, where you're so overwhelmed by the fear of life and the challenges that you forget who you are, that you forget that you have got all the answers within you. You forget that you've got this inner power, because if you really think about everything you've gone through in your life, how you always somehow manage to find a way and land on your feet. This is no different. But what makes you feel overwhelmed now? The central nervous system takes and takes and takes and takes until it gets in overwhelm mode. Then it starts activating PTSD, where you feel not enough, and you start reaching out to coping mechanisms such as the smoking. Some people, for me, it was like, when I get home, to open up a bottle of wine. And before you know it, a bottle or two has gone by the time you finish cooking. I never want to stop drinking, but I want to be in control, just 1 or 2 glasses a night. And not even every night, but over a weekend or socially, So that's where I learned, when you decompress and manage your central nervous system, you can manage everything else, because it's lots of addictive behaviors is because of emotional imbalance, supercharged central nervous system, and then you feel overwhelmed and you think, oh, I can't cope, let me just reach out to a coping mechanism. So, we have people with tic addiction in 5 days. When they connect again to this higher power, in 5 days they're over the tic. Now imagine smoking and drinking and all of the other stuff. That's anything really. It's really that when you feel like you're losing your way in life, you are just disconnected from your higher self, your higher power, and which is activated by your parasympathetic, which is the opposite of your sympathetic. Every time you activate your parasympathetic, you go stronger and stronger into your alpha theta, which is your semi-hypnotic brainwaves, which then goes into your subconscious mind, which elevates you into your deep knowingness, the Holy Spirit intuition. So we've had clients throughout the retreats that would check in, like the priest. He says he had severe trauma as a child, sexual abuse and when he could have a choice of what he wanted to do, an adult, he thought, you need to get rid of this shame and the guilt and all of this trauma and stuff, and he became a priest. But at the age of 55, he found our retreat, and he didn't tell me he's a priest, he just came on the retreat. And 3 months later, he came back to my retreat just to tell me, listen, I just want to tell you one thing. After the retreat, because it takes a month to 3 months for the homeostasis of the central nervous system. You're not going to heal properly on anything unless you find balance in your central nervous system. Stress, decompress, and self-regulate, flip the switch. Okay? So it's really, after a month, 2 months actually, he came back and he said to me, for the first time he's standing in his pulpit and he could feel the Holy Spirit like a fire. And he, at the age of 55, all his life, and he just knew, and I also just knew, when we decompress people's central nervous system, take care of the emotions, reprogram a more beautiful lens, viewpoint of the world mentally then, and we detox the body from toxicity, anything man-made, not God-made. When have you ever seen a Cocoa Pops tree or a Pronito tree in your life? Why are we eating that? Why are we feeding that to the kids? So every color in a Cocoa Pop, if you go and read those colors, has got a different activation on the spectrum for children. Because it's the colors, it's the flavoring, it's anything with a number. Or things that we don't recognize as food off a tree or out the earth. Why are we touching it? So it's about cleansing out the diet. It's about cleansing out the chemicals you clean your body with. About the chemicals we put on our body. The shampoos, like for example, lauryl sulfide. Lauryl sulfide is the biggest hormonal disruptor in the world, and it's like in everything that foams. Now the hairdressing industry has now latched onto this thing because now everyone's aware, because the number one profession that gets diagnosed with breast cancer is hairdressers. That toxins through their skin all day long with these chemicals. So now, just to give you an example, so now it says sulfite-free shampoos. That's not lauryl sulfide. It's a different type of sulfide, but now it's a different way of messing with you to say, oh, it's safe. So please do the investigation and see. You need to get off the lauryl sulfide. You need to clean. Vinegar has won the awards of the best E. coli cleanser in your toilet, on the floors, on the kitchen top counters. But it's a man-made thing to make money, to brand Handy Andy, Window Lean, brand this Mr. Muscle, all of this stuff, because it's chemical, cleans quick. But vinegar is the best clean. It's natural, for example, but you don't have to go to vinegar. There's a lot of biodegradable products available now in Checkers and Pick and Pay and everywhere now, because of the awareness. Everyone around us has some got a diagnosis, so the awareness is now waking up that chemicals and all of this stuff is really adding to the lymphatic system that causes inflammation and then eventually goes into diagnosis. But the root cause of all diseases is oxidative stress. So if you want to just look, the only thing is that's guaranteed in this life, like we get born, is our death. But you don't have to go into that old age with aches and pains and all of that. You can go with ease and grace. But just be consciously aware in the morning when you wake up and consciously aware at night. What are you setting out for today? What are you aware of? What emotions is coming? What is your emotions and what is not your emotions? I mean, I've got a lady currently checked into our wellness retreat. That's a beautiful empathic. She wants to save the world. Because on a deep down level, she was so traumatized growing up as a little girl. She so badly needed saving. So now she grew up as an adult wanting to save the world. So it's about putting down energetic boundaries, getting her balance in her central nervous system so that she can still save the world, but without being drained. The living daylights, people using and abusing her just because she's got a kind heart and she's an empathetic person. So it's really about putting down boundaries in place so nobody thinks you're a pushover and that you don't set yourself wide open for abuse through narcissists or whoever thinks that you're a pushover and can just take and take and take from you. Eventually your cup is so empty. And what is burnout? Is pouring from an empty cup. So with our formula, I teach you how to use your breath. Something so simple. That is really using your breath. Every time you breathe, you're going to breathe in from a divine space, from the throne of God, the superpower. Every time you breathe in through your nose, you're going to breathe in this super strength. And every time you breathe out, you're going to breathe out the pressure cooker. Do something with me just one moment. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it. Now put your hand in front of your mouth. Breathe out. Now I want you to become aware of that breath. When you breathe in through the nose, cool, fresh. And when you breathe out, it was hot. Correct? So I want you to start making the association. Every time you breathe in through your nose, it's cool, fresh water falling over this fire that you're breathing out, this pressure cooker, this go, 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 go. So this is the most important way for you to self-regulate your central nervous system as you go throughout your day. Stress, decompress, stress, decompress. Now you're going to use your breath and you're going to breathe from God's throne because you want to connect. So now every time you breathe, you're going to breathe in a superpower straight from God's source. It's like God's breath. Put it in your mind. Every time you breathe, you're breathing God's breath. And what does that visualization mean for you? I've got this. I have everything within me that I need. I am divinely guided every step of my way. I've got this. And it instantly puts you out of the fear mode into faith mode. Remember, fear is the opposite of faith. So every time you breathe in from the throne of God, God's breath. Put it in your mind. That will give you a superpower that you can go to in your mind, that you feel you are drawing from every time you feel you are low, you're not enough, you don't have what it takes, your cup is empty. So I want you to fill your cup. Dus die wederwese kruik. You're just going to pour from die wederwese kruik. What is that in English? It's like really pouring from... Yeah, so you're pouring from a powerful source that's never ending, giving you power, giving you divine guidance, giving you unconditional love, forgiveness for yourself, and non-judgmentalism. Because remember now, when you're pouring from an empty cup because you're giving so much care and love to your family and whoever, whenever there's someone who did something that you need to forgive, how can you forgive them if your cup is empty, forgiving yourself? So it starts with you. If you can't even forgive yourself for things you think you might have done better or didn't do in the past, we ask God for forgiveness, but how do you make it real? You have to breathe in and say to yourself for 21 to 90 days, forgive yourself. And then, how do we judge ourselves all the time? Oh, you're so stupid. I can never do that. No, other people are much more worthy than me. I had a woman yesterday who came and say, oh, I'm never going to ask for the lotto to win the lotto because I don't deserve that. I said, what? We all deserve it. It's a programming. Okay, so the main things that you want to fill your cup energetically with is unconditional love for yourself. Because how do you learn to love yourself? That little girl inside you, take her by the hand and say, you are so loved. We are adults now. We know now to take care of ourselves. We've got this. Okay? And then forgive yourself for whatever you think you should forgive yourself with. And stop judging yourself. Now we're just human. We've been doing this since childhood. Judging ourselves. Not loving ourselves unconditionally. Not forgiving ourselves. So it's really a process that I teach you how to start to fill your cup, because how can you give from an empty cup unconditional love, forgiveness and non-judgmentalism to others, and how can you expect them to have it for you if you don't even have it for yourself? It's crazy. So it's really about teaching you how to fill your own cup, and it takes practice, but it's just by starting with decompressing your central nervous system. Then you can handle and manage your emotions much better. And once you decompress the trauma from the central nervous system, because remember, go, chronic stress, like what you're experiencing now, is trauma to the central nervous system. And that takes, it activates PTSD symptoms eventually. So really you need to become aware of your central nervous system. Nothing is going to change. You're going to be like a rat, charging its tail, going around and round and round, spending more and more money, eventually getting into diagnosis, more specialists. Stop in your tracks. First of all, let's explain the central nervous system. What is sympathetic? What is parasympathetic? How do you flip the switch between these two, like your petrol and your brake in your car? Stress, decompress, stress, decompress. When you stress, you're not breathing. So activate the breath. So your breath is going to become your big decompression tool. Something so simple. And to remember to program to breathe, you can put little stickies everywhere that says breath everywhere. And 21 to 90 days it takes to change a habit, which becomes a change in your personality, change in your actions, and then change in your reality. Because it's really about changing the whole frequency and the vibration and energy of your life into something more abundant, something more blessings, to see blessings. But you can't see blessings if you're in trauma mode. Then you just see doom and gloom. So you want to shift that view, your lens, and how to see life from a more rosy, more positive lens, to actually see the blessings that's in your face. But when you're in trauma mode, you don't see the blessings, you just see pain and suffering. And it's okay, we're human after all. We are allowed to lick our wounds. We are humans. We are allowed to cry. I'll be worried if you can't cry anymore. Then you're really in trouble. Super freeze mode, shutdown mode. So it's really important for you to understand that you are just human after all.